Welcome back to Under Oath. Today we're going to be talking to American film and television actress Mariette Hartley. Mariette, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Wow, I've got to tell you, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. I've seen probably.
Watch it.
I know. Well, no. I'm not saying. Listen, I'm of a certain age too. It's a privilege. God. I was thinking to myself, the worst thing that somebody ever does to me is go, I used to read your stuff when I was a kid. That's the stuff that kills me too. But today you're promoting your new show. It's a new movie called I want to get this right. Our Almost Completely True Love Story. So why don't you tell me a little bit about it?
It turned out to be one of the most wonderful experiences of our lives. First of all, we make each other laugh. Jerry makes me laugh much more than I make him laugh, and we knew, I think, how to put that on paper and how to make other people laugh with it, and it was working. It kept going on and on and on, and it was just thrilling to do. And then as we started putting it out there and having it seen in various cities and towns and hearing the reactions from the audience, it just was making our lives feel so wonderful at this age. So that's kind of the way it all started. And now we're on our way in front of audiences, all over the United States, hopefully, which is brand new. That part is brand new to us.
One of the cool things that I think that a lot of actors, they get an opportunity to read other people's words. I mean, how different is it for you to do something that you actually created?
That part is more than glorious. I mean, and the people enjoy it. You actually sit there and listen to them laugh at what you've written and know that it's true. That's really a very special experience. I don't know how many people would think that's special, but it was for us. I remember when we were watching it up in Sedona, which was one of the first places that we saw it. And we were both nervous as hell about, were anybody else going to like it? Was it going to work? And we were sitting next to one another, and I took Jerry's hand, and the two of us just sat there and listened, listening to the laughter coming on, and being surrounded by that laughter, and saying to ourselves, boy, that's about what we've written. That's about us. That's about our lives together. And it's true. And that was a very exciting. I'll never forget that first night that we were there, and hearing that laughter and just not being able to believe the amount of awards that we were beginning to receive, and it was pretty astonishing. And then when everybody stood up and we looked at each other and were holding each other's hands so hard, and and afterwards we said, "Can you believe that? I didn't think that was going to happen. Did you?" He said, "No."
It must be a scary situation sitting there in the theater, just hoping that people appreciate what you accomplish. I can't even imagine what that moment's like.
The joy now is to know that we've heard it. We've heard it a lot of times now, and we've gotten the same response. And we get questions and answers, and people are so giving and so wonderful about it, and they laugh so fully at it. We couldn't believe. I still can't believe it. And we're opening now in a few days. It's like, oh my God, it really is happening.
That's amazing just to be able to have that moment, and you've been very fortunate. You've been nominated for a lot of awards, you won a lot of awards. I mean, now you're, as we progress in our lives, we wonder, is there more out there? What else can we explore? And I guess, how fortunate you were to be able to go, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to put this out in the world and we're going to see what happens.
I mean, it's absolutely extraordinary. And Jerry has another script, I think, that is equally, if not better than this last one. And hopefully we'll start writing that more. He's already written it, and that people will love that and we'll get that done too. It's like a whole new life.
Now, I've tried writing with people before. And, sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's really, I write graphic novels and comic books, and every once in a while you work with somebody. And it really takes, how can I say it? You really have to be comfortable with that person to be able to be honest about your feelings. And you guys have been together. I mean, how tough was it for you to actually write this story together?
We just kind of fell into it. I mean, uh, Jerry had already written one thing. I had written my book, and but to actually do it together was miraculous. It really was, and fun. Um, you've written uh, comic books.
Yeah, many comic books, many graphic novels, and people always ask me, and I guess the question I ask you is when you finish that last word, you know, I normally celebrate, I have a quick meal or something. I mean, when you finish that last word of the script, were you like, okay, I think we created something amazing?
Well, I don't think we really, especially Jerry, realized that we had created something. Not only was it did it feel amazing, but something that would affect other people in a meaningful way. I mean, that's the part that was really important to me because there were some things in it that were a little bit difficult, but we always kind of top them off with humor. And but I think all of that is amazing.
You know what I find interesting? I think, when I listen to stories, people only want to tell stories for people in their 20s and their 30s, and they forget there's a huge audience out there looking to see themselves at their own age in certain productions. And, for some reason we forget that.
Gosh, I hope people don't forget that because in this business, um, people think they need to see whim wham, thank you, ma'am things, and that's not what our movie is. It's but what it to me what it is as you're watching it is, oh wow, that's me. That happened to us. Do you remember that? You remember? And I mean, the first time we saw it together at Sedona, I thought we were going to die. It was just an amazing experience to hear people laugh the way they laughed.
Well, why don't you tell me how I get to see this movie? Because I know that, people forget, my girlfriend, how do we get people to see this? Is it in the theaters? Is it going to be streaming?
It's streaming on all major streaming platforms. I mean, we're surrounded, kid.
That's what I hear. Now, I guess the one thing, you know, I remember you from so many great shows, and I remember, you did those fantastic commercials with James Gardner, and
Oh gosh,
I listen. People loved those. I mean, we felt you were part of our lives. I mean, how do you
yeah.
compare that to, you you've sat there at the Emmy celebrations. You've sat that now you're in a theater with your own movie. I mean,
I know.
should I ask
I
what
know.
what else do you want to do because you've accomplished a ridiculous amount?
Well, I'd love to have another baby, but I know it's too late for that.
I-
Are you there?
yeah, yeah, I
Or
am
did
there.
I?
I am there. That's
Oh, you fell off your chair, right?
yeah. I'm
Um,
lucky. I'm lucky. I'm in a comfortable chair. Yeah, that was I didn't expect that. Um, you know, it's so
what?
weird because I was trying to explain to people how great this interview was, and I have people in my office in their 20s, and I said to them, they go, "Oh, she used to do these great Polaroid commercials," and somebody said to me, "What's a Polaroid?" And then I felt old.
Right.
Then I was like, "Oh God."
Yeah, I guess so, except that on YouTube, anybody can turn it on, 3 or 4 or 5 times or as long as you want. Um, and the Johnny Carson shows and all of those. I mean, there's so many things that I've done that are still on television. On YouTube, for crying out loud, everything I know of is on.
Nothing.
You know,
Everything's out there now.
Jimmy, it really is. And Jimmy Garner, whom I absolutely adored when I worked with him, they're all on. And they're the funniest, commercials still.
Well, I can't tell you. I can't thank you enough for being here, and I really wish you great success. And I can't wait to see the movie.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you so much for calling. It was great.